There once was a wise man, and I believe it was Mark Twain, correct me if I'm wrong, that talked about lies, damned lies, and statistics. Well, when it comes to my Browning Buckmark Micro Bull here, I told you guys a damned lie twice now. And this video is all about coming clean, manning up, admitting when I'm wrong, taking the big L. So let's get everything started. And we're going to start by putting rounds down range, of course. So let's go. Let's get to some live fire here. Got my eyes on Decibels custom molded earplugs in. Gonna put 10 rounds of some CCI mini mag on some steel 25 yards down range with this thing. Let's do it. Must have been riding the slide a lot. Here we are with the Browning Buckmark Micro Bull, the culprit that has caused me to lie to you guys twice now. And the reason is the accessories on this thing. Now, I do want to make a caveat here. When we're talking about accessories, we're not talking about things on this handgun that change the way that it functions internally. Everything still works exactly as it did from the factory. But just like putting, fancy wheels and tires on your car, or even a steering wheel cover, there are certain accessories that you do put on your firearms for various reasons. Now, the first lie comes in when I very first got this little Browning Buckmark Micro Bull. I've got several, of course, Browning Buckmarks, and I really like the short barrel, the bull barrel on this one. And I thought, heck, I'm gonna kind of just keep it the way it comes. I'm not really gonna make it my own. And real quickly, which is a common thing, I added some LOK grips on this thing, some G10 grips from LOK Grips, simply because I like a really grippy, a really aggressive grip texture. And these definitely fit the bill. The other thing, when I first lied to you guys, was this right here. This is a Buck Pro bumper from Tandemkross. And it's just a little piece of plastic that goes on the bottom of the magazine. You can see this magazine is thin, and the little foot or base on this magazine also small and thin. There it is right there. You can barely see how thin it is. And this just gives you a little more to grab onto. It's a little more friendly because you've also got a very small mag well that it goes into. So it just aids in being able to, I guess, the accessibility or whatever. But and I take full responsibility for lying to you guys the first time, for sure. Second time, Tandemkross bears a little responsibility in that because I'd seen Tandemkross at GunCon, and they know that I own multiple Browning Buckmarks. I'm a big, huge fan of the Browning Buckmark, and they said, "Hey, I wonder if we've got any accessories out that that you don't already have." And they did. They had two. First is this right here. This is the Tandemkross Halo charging ring. Now, I say just came out. They may have actually had this, and it is loose. I do need to tighten it up. But that Halo charging ring just assists in racking the slide. So if you're talking about a situation where you've got small hands, maybe dexterity issues trying to grab that slide and rack like so, just a lot simpler, a lot easier to grab that charging ring and go. And normally that would be tight again. And then they also had this top strap right here with a front sight as well. They call it the Marksman. Has multiple footprint patterns, if I can say that. Boy, that's like footprint patterns. There we go. For your optics, and just running I guess, a eco-friendly, eco, because it would be economics, a budget-minded Siley optic on this thing. But you've got your front and rear here fiber optic sights, and the rear course is massively adjustable, which is really cool. Now, what's got me curious, and I think we're going to go test it out, is you can see the front sight, the rear sights. You can see your sights through the glass. Now, I've got some concern because the glass on this optic, it's got some reflection. Obviously, it's got a little bit of a tint to it. And so I am curious, if I shoot some groups with a dot on this, then what type of groups can I hold with a dot versus trying to use the sights through the iron sights, I should say, the fiber optic sights through the optic. And I definitely want to jump over there and get things set up and try that out. So we'll go do that here in just a second. Before we do, let me know what you think about the styling, the setup, the aesthetic look of this one right here, the Browning Buckmark Micro Bull, with the accessories that I have on it. Personally, I've came around to it. I don't think I liked it nearly as much when I first added everything as I do now, but it's growing on me. It's a little different, and it definitely brings an old school iconic design in the Browning Buckmark into a more modern era, I think. So, yeah, with that said, let's get over to the multi-cal steady rest from Ransom. We're going to shoot for some groups. Going to run that same CCI ammo now. Got a target 25 yards down range. Actually got more than one target. Target on the left, I'm going to shoot with the red dot, the optic. Since I can see these sights through the window, the target on the right, I'm going to shoot with the irons through this optic. And we're going to just see what kind of groups I can potentially hold that way. So here we go. All right, there's our 5 on the left. Now I'm going to shift to the right. And again, I'm going to do my best to ignore the dot. Actually, I'm going to turn the brightness down on this thing because that will help me see my irons a little better. Here we go. All right, let's go take a look at the target. See what kind of difference that made. All right, 25 down range, taking a look. There's the one on the left. That's going to be the red dot. On our right over here, and we are way spread out compared to this one over here. 4 of these, it's going to be 1 inch. So what, these are half-inch squares. So well within half-inch there. Right here, if we're lucky, 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches. The thing about it is I've got a circle dot on that optic, right? And so I was able to line the circle up. It almost worked like target globes on here. So makes sense that we're getting a more consistent sight picture with that red dot. Whereas over here, trying to look through that window's obviously glass. You've got some reflection and some other things. It was really hard to hold that sight picture properly. And I was also trying to hold a 6 o'clock because I knew that just because of the way that the red dot set into that rail and the way the sights were, that my point of impact was going to be high. And I didn't want to be obviously off the target here. So I was holding a 6 o'clock hold instead of a target hold or a dead center there. But, 25 yards, if you were plinking cans or doing something like that, this would definitely cut the mustard. But if you were trying to do some type of competition, obviously the red dot there, it's gonna run away with it for sure in this particular scenario. It's pretty safe to say that trying to use these fiber optic iron sights through at least this particular red dot, not optimal. I mean, can you get rounds on target in some way, shape, form, and fashion? I mean, yeah, you can, but not nearly to the capability of this little Browning Buckmark. Most of you out there, if you followed the channel any length of time, you know that Browning Buckmarks just super freaking reliable, super freaking accurate. And this particular one, as a matter of fact, has put up groups at 25 yards from a rest, well under the size of a quarter. So to have that open up, maybe it's just my eyes trying to adjust from the, red dot to those fiber optic sights. And then again, looking through the glass, who knows? But, I always say for the money, it's really hard to beat out of the box accuracy, trigger, just a bunch of different things, honestly, when it comes to the Browning Buckmarks. That being said, there are better 22 long rifle semi-auto handguns out there. Just so happens I've got a video featuring one of those that I did recently on the channel, and you can take a look at it next.